Hello, once again. Welcome back to Habits and Health Span, an Amway podcast. We're so glad that you've chosen to be with us today. My name is Alyssa, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, John. Hey, John, how's it going?
Hey, Alyssa, always great being with you. Always
Likewise.
great being here. You know, January's long since gone, but I'm still honoring a New Year's resolution I made.
Really?
Yeah, that's right. I made a resolution to go to the gym at least once a week and work out.
And you're still doing it.
I'm still doing it. So if you've noticed why these shirts are getting a little bit tighter, if I flex too hard, I might split a seam. That's why. I just didn't want to alarm anyone.
Please don't do that.
Okay. I promise I won't. We have some incredible guests.
We
today.
do. We're so excited to deep dive into this topic of fitness. And here with us today, we have Michelle Mizer. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being with us. And Kira Dosenberry is also with us.
Yes, we're excited to be here.
Absolutely. Michelle and Kira are both a part of Amway's health and well-being platform. In addition, Michelle has her Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science. You're a certified personal trainer, a certified wellness coach, a wellness coordinator, a program manager. You do virtual coaching. Is there anything else that you want our listeners to know about you?
Well, fitness is my passion. It's something that I've always loved to do. And now I'm passionate about helping others in their fitness journey as well.
Then you're in the right spot. You got 2 students right here and a
Yes.
ton more listening at home. Right. And Kira, you have your Bachelor's of Science in Clinical Exercise Science. You're also a certified personal trainer, and you coach girls high school lacrosse.
I sure do. Yes. I'm very passionate about coaching the next generation and utilizing all the stuff I've learned in sports performance coaching over the years too.
Lacrosse is a pretty physical sport, and I know that all of our listeners have a wide range of physical activity they engage in, some as active as lacrosse, some a little bit less so. How important is physical activity and how your muscular health influence health span?
Oh, it is really important. Muscular health is at the center point of our health span. And when we're going through our day-to-day activities, we don't even really realize it, but our muscles are working constantly. Whether we're walking upstairs or we're picking up groceries and bringing them into the house, we're bending over to pick something up, our muscles are being utilized. Not only does it help us, look good in the mirror, have those flexing muscles, but it's just really important for our quality of life and our independence as we age as well. So something else that muscles do that some people might not always realize is it helps us with our mobility and our balance. When we're strength training, also what happens is when we put stress on our muscles put stress on our bone, and then our bones grow and develop. And that's really important for us. So that's the good kind of stress we want to have on our bodies as well. It also helps us support our posture and allow us to absorb shock and prevent injury that way as well. So honestly, everything we do in life contributes to our muscular health.
Yeah, fantastic. Michelle, anything you'd like to add?
Kira, spot on. It is at the center of our health span. It's something that we need as we age to help us have independence as we go from our 20s to 30s all the way up to our 60s. It's something that we want to really focus on to enjoy the things that we love now later in life too.
So you're saying that, because I can tend to be sometimes a cardio junkie because I see the calorie number just like, woo,
Yep.
and that then contributes to, I know this isn't quite probably true, but then, I can eat this much, right?
Yeah.
Are you saying that muscle building, strengthening is better than cardio, or do you need both?
We do need both, absolutely. The great thing about the more lean mass we have, the more muscle mass we have, it actually contributes to our basal metabolic rate. So it's the amount of calories you burn at rest. So having more muscle actually does help us burn more calories throughout the day. Basal metabolic rate is if you were to lay in bed all day, how many calories you would burn essentially. So yes, that does help contribute to that equation, but we also need the cardiovascular health as well. We need to be doing aerobic training and anaerobic training. So for those who are not familiar, so anaerobic training is when our body uses oxygen as its main fuel source. So that's kind of your jogging, walking, swimming, biking, but then the anaerobic uses our muscle glycogen as a main source. So that's going to be more of your high intensity interval training, higher heart rates and such. So we recommend absolutely doing both and integrating that throughout your weekly routine.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance. I know that number, it's easy to focus in on and want to do more and more, but it's all about balance to making sure that you're not over exercising and overtraining and recovering as well. Cardio is great for heart health that we need to help us as we do things daily in our life for endurance. And then strength training is going to almost as a shield for our body to help us have independence later in life as well. And the mobility is also another great thing that we can talk about later as well, but it really helps with joint health, flexibility, balance. So it helps reduce the risk of injury and falling later in life too.
So you've mentioned later in life a couple of times. Can you talk a little bit about what happens to our muscles as we get older?
Definitely. Aging is guaranteed. We all go through it. And sometimes people look at it at the surface level of wrinkles, gray hair, but we want to think about it below the surface. So we hit our muscle mass peak around the age of our mid-20s. And then by the time we hit our 30s, that's when we start losing about 1% of muscle mass every year. So if we don't do anything to maintain our muscle mass, we lose about 25% by the time we hit the age of 70.
Wow.
That's a significant number. The definition of sarcopenia is the loss of muscle mass, strength, and function as we get older. I like to think of sarcopenia like dehydration. By the time that you realize you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated, right? Sarcopenia is kind of the same way. As we age and we start losing muscle strength, the endurance, being able to get up and down out of a chair easier, we've probably already hit sarcopenia and losing muscle mass more than what we realize. So I like to compare the two because by the time you realize you have it, it's already hit.
And is there a difference between men and women in terms of how muscle loss interacts with them?
Yes, definitely. Men typically experience it a little bit different because they have testosterone and they have more muscle mass as well. As men get older, they start losing their testosterone, typically around the age of 50. So they might not see significant losses earlier in life in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. But once 50 hits, their testosterone starts falling. And that is when they start noticing loss of muscle mass. Maybe they can't run as far, lift as much, or even get up and down out of a chair as easy. So there's things that we can do to help us as we age to reduce that loss. Kira, you want to talk about the women?
Yeah, and in women, there are many different reasons for this, but two of the main ones would be estrogen and our lack of physical activity as we age too. So let's start with estrogen first. A lot of us know estrogen as its role in reproduction, but estrogen also helps build our tendons, ligaments, and muscles, and that helps with our connective tissue and their response when we strength train. So as we age, women can experience the loss of estrogen in perimenopause, which can start as early as 35 in some women as well. So that's why strength training becomes even more important for us. And the lack of physical activity part doesn't help us as well, right? So as we mentioned earlier, when we're strength training and we're putting that stress on our bones and we're growing our bones, if we reduce that, then we're also losing that growth in our bones. And that can lead to a risk of injury, frailty, and even in some cases, osteoporosis as well.
Okay, so we're hearing what inevitably happens as our bodies get older for men and women. What do we do about it right now? Is there anything we can do to help slow down that age-related muscle loss?
Definitely. We have the power to be able to help slow down the loss of muscle mass, which is the great news. And some things that we can do is strength training. Strength training is so important at any age. It's never too early or too late to start really as we're aging. For strength training, lifting weights isn't just for bodybuilders. It's more than looking good. It's really getting below that surface level, make sure that we have healthy muscles. So we encourage people to lift 2 to 3 times per week. Also, cardiovascular health is so important as we age as well. We encourage people to do 150 minutes of moderate cardiovascular or 75 minutes of harder, higher intensity cardio as well. Kira, do you have any other points?
Absolutely. Strength and flexibility. A lot of us in our 20s, some of us in our 30s are like, I'm fine. I don't need to stretch. My body feels great. And then we approach the mid 30s or 40s. We're like, just getting out of bed and you're feeling tight. So that goes back to making sure that we are being proactive in our stretching. So you might not feel super tight now, but it's great to get that routine in. So stretching work, flexibility, whether that's yoga for some people or just literally static stretching at home on the ground or wherever you are. Another important 2 parts is protein and amino acids are great for us. So our body, there's 9 essential amino acids that our bodies do not produce, and we need to get that from foods we eat or supplements we take as well. And making sure we're getting adequate amount of protein intake to support our muscles. Another overlooked one is hydration. So a lot of us think, oh, I drink so many XYZ number of glasses of water per day. I'm hydrated, right? I'm great. Actually, there's another part of that equation. It's the electrolytes that come into play. So making sure our potassium, magnesium, and sodium are all interchangeable in our diet as well. So we can get that from the foods we eat, and we can also get that from external sources as well. Another thing that is great is to supplement with vitamin D and calcium, because those also support our bones and our muscle health. And of course, avoiding sedentary behavior, trying to be as active as we can whenever we can, whether that's taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or that's parking in the furthest spot in the parking lot so it takes the longest time to get to the entrance. All of those are going to help. And as Michelle said earlier, it's great to start now. We might think, some people that are listening might think, oh, in our 40s and 50s, I've never strength trained before in my life. Is it done for me? Am I in a bad position? No, our bodies are so adaptable, and that's the most amazing thing about them. So you can still see results and still prevent the severe muscle loss as you age if you continue and you start now.
I love it. Okay, can you, both of you, talk a little bit about the importance of regular self-assessments and checkups? What would you have to say about?
So some of self-assessments that are easy to do at home are, we call them girth measurements, where you can take one of those, like a tailored person will have the tape measure that's flexible, and you can measure certain parts of your body and write those down just to understand, how your body's changing as you start your fitness journey. A couple things that are really important that are talked about a lot in terms of our muscle loss or lack there, or strength really. As we age, one of the first things to decline is our grip strength. And the reason we want to test that is because it allows us to understand, if I'm lifting heavy weights, if I'm challenging myself, I'll be able to I'll have a stronger grip, right? So a way that we can test that from the comfort of our home or at a local gym is, we call it a dead hang test. So a dead hang test is anywhere, if you have a pull-up bar or if you have something in your home that's sturdy enough where you can literally hang from with your dead weight, legs straight and all of that. The goal is for women to be able to hold that for 90 seconds and men for 2 minutes. That's also a great indicator of your grip strength. Another one is we call a farmer's carry, which it gets its name from farmers in the day carrying a bale of hay in each hand and walking, across the barn. So now we utilize those with dumbbells or kettlebells or any other type of weight that we can hold. And you're literally just walking in a straight line. You can turn around if you don't have enough room. But for women to be able to hold the equivalent of 75% of their body weight and with 2 minutes of walking. And for men, it's their entire body weight in the weight they're holding in their hands for that 2 minutes. So those
that has a purpose. I used to do this at the gym.
Yes, exactly.
But I just thought it was like this weird thing that they tagged onto the end of workouts to be like, all right, let's see what you got.
I mean, it's a little bit that too.
Okay, all right.
But that's going to help you as you get older with, carrying bags of groceries or opening jars or opening a can of soda, whatever it is. It's going to help with your grip strength as you get older too. And another assessment is a balance test, because as we age, the biggest thing that a lot of elderly people pass away from is falling, and their bodies don't really recover. So a balance test is a good indicator of, your lower body extremity and how much strength you have in your lower body. And an easy thing to do is just a balance test where you stand on one leg and you see how long you can hold your balance there. The goal is 30 seconds. And if it's anything under 10 seconds, that's a big indicator that there's a closer link to mortality. And then you can also close your eyes and try to balance on one foot. And your goal is to try to get more than 10 seconds.
I'm so tempted right now to do it. Are you done? Are you I really want to know?
I actually was. That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Okay, we can save it for later.
Yeah, report back to us.
Yeah.
Let us know what you get.
As you're talking about all these different workouts you can do, all the different ways that we can slow down age-related muscle loss, I'm curious, is there an optimum balance between these different types of exercise?
Yeah, there certainly is. And it's really going to depend on the individual's goals, right? So if you have someone that's a triathlete in their 20s, 30s, heck, even 50s. There's great triathletes in their 50s. They're going to probably prioritize cardiovascular exercise over strength training, right? But they're still going to make sure they get their strength training in to prevent injury and to make sure they're staying strong. For a general population, someone that is, look, I've taken a long hiatus from my fitness journey, or I'm just beginning my fitness journey. It doesn't have to be this very intimidating task, right? It's just like we kind of mentioned earlier, 2 to 3 times a week of strength training, then sprinkling in 3 to 5 days per week of cardiovascular exercise, and then following that with flexibility, mobility exercises throughout the week. And I think a big thing that scares people off is like, oh gosh, that's so much time. I don't have time to take an hour of strength training, an hour of cardio. We have this hour time frame in our head sometimes. You can see great results in 20 to 30 minutes of exercise. Michelle and I have been trainers in the field for a while, and we've had many clients, all of different ages over the years. And a lot of the times we are only training them for 30 minutes a couple times a week, and we still see great results that way too. So it should be a more of an encouraging thing to hear instead of, oh man, I don't have enough time. Like you can get enough time in. And especially when we talk about the cardiovascular side, the anaerobic training, that high intensity interval training, everyone talks about the HIIT training, that can be done in as little as 6 minutes if you're getting your heart rate up to its max, which is what it's supposed to do. So there's so many great things that we can do, and there's the optimal balance is going to differ between person to person.
And yeah, as she mentioned, we both trained a lot of individuals over the years. My favorite was always training people who are like the 60s, 70s plus range, because they have different goals than people in their 20s and 30s. I had one gentleman who wanted to beat his partner in golf. That was his sole goal.
I love it.
So we would do a balance, though, of making sure we were getting in cardio to keep up his endurance, and then also strength training, and then also mobility to improve his range of motion. And I will tell you, nothing beat when he walked in with that big smile and he beat his partner by just a few swings.
I love it. Sort of related to celebrating a victory like that for your client, how can we stay motivated? Because it's one thing to hear how good strength training is for you, cardiovascular fitness, all these different things. When it comes down to the daily grind, it can be another thing to stay motivated and continue to challenge yourself. I'm also curious about how that affects our mental well-being, because I know it does, but it still can be tricky when it comes time to do it.
Absolutely. And we all know that staying active is so important. But let's be honest, it's not always easy to be motivated every single day. Some days I jump out of bed. Other days I'd rather stay in bed. So the key is really finding purpose. It's finding community and then celebrating those small wins along the way. And community is a key piece to me, just because it's so much easier to show up for something when you know someone's waiting there for you. That accountability piece is huge. And just being a part of a community, whether it's at a gym, if it's part of a virtual community challenge, whatever it is, it's so much easier when you know someone's there to work out with you, celebrate your wins, and just keep you accountable as well. And then setting goals is really key, because you got to know why you're doing something, right? And fitness is personal. It's not like, I just want to get in shape. No, why do you want to get in shape? Do you want to get in shape to be able to walk farther with your partner? Or maybe it's to be able to run a 5K without stopping. Or maybe it's just to be able to play with your kids or grandkids. So celebrating those wins and having those goals is very important, and just making sure that it's personal and you know what that why is. And the mental side of it is so key, because we all know that movement is important, but movement actually helps reduce stress, improve your mood, and it also lowers symptoms of anxiety or depression. So exercise really triggers endorphins, which is the body's natural mood booster, which is awesome. And make it enjoyable. Do something that you love. If you don't enjoy running, don't run. I just had a woman tell me, she's like, I love to tap dance. I'm like, then you should tap dance. Find a local class where you can tap dance. And that's still great for your body to be able to do that. So making sure that you get your community, you're finding your purpose, and finding things that are enjoyable to you.
That strikes so true to my personal experience. I ran my first marathon last year.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And it would not have been possible at all without running it with my best friend. Those Saturday morning long runs, I would have quit so early if it wasn't just such a fantastic time hanging out with my buddy. So as y'all are talking, there's a question that's in my head. Is there such thing as too much exercise?
That's a great question, because usually you hear more is better, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not always the case with exercising. So when does too much exercise become a problem? There are some warning flags that people can look for that might trigger them to realize they're doing too much and they need to take a step back. The goal of exercising, it should make you feel stronger, more energized, and balanced. So when you start feeling exhausted, sore, and irritable, that's a sign that you might be overdoing it. Some other things that you can look for are you're feeling fatigued after working out. You don't have as much performance when you're training, or maybe you're injuring yourself more often. Your sleep isn't as normal as it usually is. Maybe you're waking up a lot during the night. Maybe your muscles are chronically sore. Those are not normal things that should be happening when you're working out. Any other things that you can think of?
Yeah, so sleep is a huge one. Sleep is the most important drug we have for ourselves, honestly. And we always say 7 to 9 hours of sleep. 7's on that lower end. I think really it's the 8 to 9 plus. That's really important for us. And when we get our great sleep in, we have our hormones are more in balance. Our moods are more in balance. We don't have all these cravings when we wake up. We're a little more settled and balanced in our own bodies as well. And also the more hydrated we are, the better we're going to feel too. In the afternoons, a lot of people are like, oh, it's the afternoon slump and I need a coffee to wake me up. It's like, maybe we need electrolytes. Maybe we need some more hydration for our bodies to fuel ourselves as well. So, and then just constantly checking up on yourselves and understanding, being more in tune with your bodies. A lot of us, I think, in social media, we hear a lot more about that. And I think that's a wonderful thing that's being talked about more, is understanding how our bodies are feeling and really tuning into that and not just pushing ourselves for reasons that aren't doing us justice for our bodies.
So as we age, should our fitness change as well? I'm intuiting yes. So if that's true, what type of consideration should we be taking into account in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all the decades?
Yeah, absolutely. As our bodies change, we need to be changing with them and supporting them through those life stages that we're going through. So in our 20s and 30s, you're going to see a lot of us doing more competitive sports, a lot of CrossFit, high intensity. We're jumping from one intramural soccer game to the gym, to a Pilates class, whatever it may be. And so during those times, we're really doing the foundational work for our muscles. So we're really focusing on that strength phase. And that's what's going to help lead us into our 30s, our 40s, which we'll have Michelle touch on in a moment too. But some of the biggest mistakes people make during this time is not prioritizing the flexibility and stability as well. So that always plays a role in it. If we don't have that, our muscles are going to get tight, right? We're super sore. Then we're just going to get sore all the time. And then that's going to also prevent our range of motion when we're lifting weights. So the stability and flexibility is going to support us in our strength training as well.
Definitely. And in your 40s and 50s, in your 20s and 30s, as you said, you're building that strong foundation. But so you start getting into your 40s and 50s, the goal is to maintain what you've built and continue building upon that through compound movements, core work, mobility work, cardiovascular health. You really want to try to balance those three pieces. In your 60s, it's about retaining that muscle health. You want to work on balance and flexibility to really reduce the risk of falling and injuring yourself. So strength training, cardiovascular fitness, mobility work, and recovery. Having recovery days is key too.
So you mentioned for 40s and 50s, it's a lot about maintaining. And then what was the word you used for those in their 60s and 70s?
Retaining. Muscle.
What would you say to those individuals that maybe they didn't do the groundwork that they wish they did when they were younger? One thing we always say in this podcast is it's never too late to start.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
So for those who feel like they have nothing to maintain and nothing to retain, and they're starting now for the first time, which that's awesome. So glad if that's you and you're starting your fitness journey now. What would you say to them?
I would congratulate them for taking that first step, because that is so key. And it's never too late to get started. As I mentioned, my favorite people to train are the people who are in their 60s and 70s, because their goal is just to be stronger, to do the things that they enjoy doing every day, putting their groceries away, playing with their grandkids, whatever it may be. But my advice to them is just start moving. And find things that they enjoy doing. Find a community that they can get involved with, so they have an accountability partner, and it makes it so much more fun and enjoyable. And then take it day by day. We like to do habit stacking, so you're not doing everything at once. So maybe it's, going for a 10-minute walk in the morning. And then, the next week you're starting to build in nutritional habits. And then you're starting to prioritize your sleep and having recovery days. So our bodies do change as we get older, but it's never too late to start.
And adding on to that little trainer tip, when we're going out and doing our sports, right? We don't have a coach telling us, you guys got to go warm up 10 minutes before we start practice, right? We're adults, we're on our own now. And we forget to warm up, because that's like the most not fun part, like we just want to get into our workout and get on with our day, right? So making sure that we warm up is so vital, so important. And when you warm up, you can incorporate your mobility exercises, your flexibility exercises as well. And that can be part of those ones for the day, and doesn't need to take that much time. But making sure we're doing a proper warm up, we're stretching our bodies, and we're slowly getting into those higher heart rate zones is going to keep us safe. And then also cooling down afterwards. Sometimes, okay, the pickup basketball game's over. Let's go hang out, get some dinner, and no one stretched, right? So then your muscles are like, what? I need you, help me. And they're all getting tight and nervous and everything, right? So we need to make sure that we're also stretching afterwards as well.
Because that can definitely lead to injuries.
Yes.
I've pulled hamstrings. I've done it all. So now I take extra precaution to make sure I warm up before and after I play.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to be hearing both of your voices in my head next time I'm at the gym, because I did not warm up or cool down yesterday when I was there.
It's such a good reminder, though, right? Because in all the things that I hear you saying, I just hear like tremendous kindness in your voices. And I think that can be applied to all of us as we're listening, as we're being reminded, or maybe learning for the first time. These are good things that you can do for yourself.
Yes.
And I love the habit stacking idea too, because there's just a nice, gentle way. It doesn't have to be like, from 0 to 100 in making these steps. Right. And really even to try to do that would be pretty unreasonable, right? But I think sometimes we put that on ourselves to be like, okay, today's the day. Let's make all the changes. And I don't hear you saying that. I hear you celebrating the little wins, setting goals. And John, you can go to the gym still and hear their gentle voices telling you it's okay. You can stretch, you can warm up, you can cool down.
Because fitness is for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's a life sport, really, because we want to be able to have you and everyone continue doing the things that they love doing and live a full life.
Okay, well, this has really been great information, and I know I've learned a lot. We like to, as we sort of wrap up our time together, hear from our guests on just a few, 2 or 3 practical, you mentioned trainer tips earlier, 2 or 3 practical things that we and our listeners can implement right away in our daily life.
First, I think strength training should be your best friend, because it's so important in your life journey. It's going to help preserve muscle mass. It's going to keep your bones strong and prevent injuries as we age. Some simple things to do to get started. You could do body weight exercises like squats, push-ups, planks. There's resistance band workouts, which are so easy. You can take them anywhere when you're traveling. I throw them in my suitcase whenever I travel. And then there's dumbbells or machines at the gym too, which kind of seem intimidating. So if it is intimidating, find a trainer or a friend who's comfortable and they can help guide you and show you too. Fuel your body with intention. If you are going to be working out, it's so important to fuel it right. Adding in protein, eating more whole foods, drinking water. And the other thing is prioritize sleep and recovery. You can train hard, but if you're not resting and recovering properly, you're not going to get the results that you want. During sleep, your muscles really rebuild and repair, your hormones go back to balancing, and your energy resets too. So that's so important. And then just setting small goals. Kira's really got a really great trainer tip that she can share with you on setting goals.
So we love SMART goals, and SMART is an acronym. And for those not familiar, it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So an example, I have a goal that I want to increase my squat weight by 10 pounds in 4 weeks. That's the whole goal. So that's specific, because it's relative to my squat strength specifically. It's measurable. Okay, I know I've achieved it when I've hit 10 more pounds from what I can do now. It is achievable. 10 pounds in 4 weeks, yes, it's a very achievable goal. Is it realistic? Is adding 10 pounds to my squat realistic? Absolutely, yes. That's a natural 4-week progression in training. And is it time bound? Yes, it's 4 weeks. That's my time. So making sure they're really specific, and you can make multiple of them. So you can have one for, upper lower body, one for a mile time, whatever it may be. And even just like what you mentioned earlier, 1 day a week in the gym, whatever, 2 days you increase it. So that's a great way to get really specific, so that comes to the forefront of our mind. I love to write goals on a piece of paper, tape it to my mirror in my bathroom or in my bedroom, so I see it every day. It's the forefront of my mind, and I'm thinking about it throughout the day too.
John, what are you going to write on your sticky note?
Ooh, what am I going to write on my sticky note? I'm going to have to really take in everything that y'all have said today and come up with a good SMART goal.
Yeah, maybe warm up. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the one. Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Warm up and cool down. I like it. Hey, that's why she's the trainer. Well, thank you so much for giving me my goal, but also sharing all of your wisdom with us.
Such a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks to all of you for listening at home. Make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And you actually know what, Alyssa? What? I want to try the balance thing. I want to close my eyes and see if I can balance.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to do it.
Do it.
I can't let you do this by yourself.
I got my accountability buddy.
Woo!
Here we go. How long is it?
All right, 10 seconds,
All right,
and then
here
your
we go.
knee should be at 90 degrees.
Okay.
90 degrees. What?
Starting now. 1, 2, 3,
Oh,
4,
this is harder than I
5, 6,
No.
7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah! Great job.
Nice job.
Nice work.
All right, we'll see you next time, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. That was the hardest podcast we've done. Just because of that ending. Wow.